I had a student today ask me how I was able to afford going to Florida for spring break. Honey, I just make really bad financial decisions. It's not a secret. I just don't make good decisions.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Bad financial decisions that people make that don't make sense. Knowing that your car needs to be repaired, but you think it's not worth it. So instead of paying $500 to fix it, you go and take out a loan for $30,000 to get a new car. My question to you is, where did you take your math class? Where does it make sense that you're going to not spend $500 instead $30,000 getting a new car? That does not make sense. And yes, people can do whatever they want with their money and their time and their life, but that still does not take away from the fact that that is a dumb decision. Only time it would not be worth repairing your car is if the repair is going to cost more than what your car is worth. Let's just say your car is worth $20,000 and the repair is going to cost you $1,000. Does that make financial sense? Yes. Is it annoying to spend that $1,000 on repairing your car? Yes, but that is still worth repairing. You get me? Like, you're not going to go into debt for a $30,000 car because you didn't want to spend $1,000 repairing the one you have. Welcome to owning a depreciating asset. If the repair is going to cost you less than what the car is worth, go ahead and do the repair. Don't go into a bunch of debt for something that could have easily been avoided.
Now, y'all know that I am financially irresponsible, okay? I don't always make the smart choices when it comes to finances, and I just like to spend it, and I just am like, we will figure it out. Okay, I will find a way to make some additional money with my consulting work, with side gigs, whatever it will be, moving money around in all my accounts. Things will get paid, okay? I don't miss paying my bills. I'm an independent woman, INDEP. Anyways, you get the point. But I don't know if I'm this financially irresponsible, because listen, I'm supposed to be going on an international trip this summer with a group of people, and I am here for it. I'm ready. It's going to be a beautiful experience. People who all have similar interests, a group of fantastic women. Do I know most of them? No, but that's okay. That's not what's important. They're mutuals, you know. Anyways, y'all, this flight though. The flight that they're like, let's pick this flight, and I'm like, this is a $2,500 flight. I travel internationally every year, okay? Like every year, sometimes multiple times a year, and I have never in my life, never one time ever, never paid more than $900 total with everything, especially even in little airlines where you gotta pay for everything, okay? I'm talking seat, bag, seat belt, whatever else it might be. $2,500? Listen, I've got checks coming in the mail, I've got some contracts aside, but I also am like, ooh, come May, theoretically speaking, I'm gonna have to start paying back my student loans, okay? And I also have, you know, credit card debt and a mortgage and a car note, and my house is falling apart, and I'm like, can I continue to be financially irresponsible? I don't think that I can. I don't know. I cannot. I mean, yes, I could probably do like a payment plan for said flight, but that's not the point. The point is that it would still come out of my pocket eventually, and that's $2,500. And all the people in the group are like, bought my flight, and I'm just like, I don't know that I can, and I really want to go because it'll be fun and it'll be an amazing experience, and it's like 17 days, but I'm also probably gonna have to take unpaid time off because I will not have 17 vacation days because I use them to take them off to go do consulting to make the money to pay for the trip.
I owned this car for literally one day. Okay, you guys, the past 2 days of my life have been so insanely stressful, and let me tell you why. So I bought my car. Woohoo! Yay! I didn't even get to really like enjoy it because the financing and like all of the contracting part, they me so hard. They messed me up so hard. I didn't realize how bad the refinancing contract was. Blase, blase, blase. I didn't realize any of these things until, of course, I call my father and I tell him, like, I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, they did this and this. And my dad's like, what? Basically, they signed me up for gap insurance. Didn't need it. Honestly, guys, I can go back and forth about how shitty the contract was, but luckily there's a 2-day canceling like contract fee. So instead of buying this car that I was so excited to do, I'm no longer buying this car, and I'm here at Mercedes-Benz right now and I'm dropping it off. I owned this car for literally 1 day. I'm just gonna trade it in, forget the contract, whatever, and in a few months I will be getting into a new car. And I say a few months because we have some life-changing things coming up that you guys don't know about yet, and you guys will know very soon, and then you will understand why it is not smart for me to get into a vehicle right now, okay? So stay tuned for that. But yeah, long story short, I feel like I really tried to do what was best financially. I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this car for the low, and then I'm gonna sell it and I'm gonna flip it, whatever. It was not that simple, and it was never that simple, and I'm just a girl. Walking away from the situation, I can't say that I learned a lot and what not to do moving forward. So I am blessed and grateful for that. But I'm really not liking Mercedes-Benz right now, or like the people at this exact location, because of how they went about things. They literally played me.
As for me, by far the worst financial mistake that I have ever made is to buy a penny stock course. I think I was like 18 or 19 years old, really young. Like, I love to learn, but it was $7,000 for the course. $7,000. Literally a waste of money. $7,000. Yep. I did that. And that was just a very stupid thing to do. Horrible mistake to make. But hey, you live and you learn, I guess.
Here are the 2 worst financial mistakes I ever made. And this is coming from a normal person. I'm not super financially successful, but I'm also not a disconnected rich person who's going to tell you, well, after I sold my 6th property, then I didn't quite get the return on the 7th property. No, it's nothing like that. For people that are closer to my situation, you know, you're starting to have some money that you're looking to save up or invest or whatever. These are 2 of the worst mistakes I ever made. Number 1, sports gambling. Don't do it. The only way I can tell you it's okay to sports gamble is if you have a healthy relationship with gambling, and that is that, like, you can put the occasional small amount of money on a game to, you know, just kind of have a good time with your friends or something like that. Gambling is an addiction, just like any drug, just like anything else. But instead of hurting your body or your brain, it's going to kill your bank account. It is a sickness. It will get into your brain and it will destroy your financial life way faster than you realize. Like, my story with gambling was when I first started gambling on sports, I went up $7,000 within the first 4 months, right? The needle was in me, okay? I was like, oh, I could probably never work again. I could just do this full time, blah, blah, blah. Going insane, okay? Probably within a month or 2 of gaining that $7,000, I had lost all of it, and then also down an additional $1,000. And then ever since that point, all I did was lose. I would win a little bit, and then I would lose twice that amount, until eventually I lost $12,000. So it's like alcohol. If you can maintain a very healthy, moderate relationship with it, then that's fine. But as soon as you understand that it's becoming a problem, as soon as you understand that it's becoming an addiction, you cannot do it. I'm telling you right now, it's designed to infect your brain. You will not win. This business wouldn't exist if you were going to win. People don't win. The companies win. The second thing is another form of gambling, the stock market. And I'm not telling people not to invest in the stock market. You should absolutely, if you're able to, put money into the stock market. But don't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to become a day trader. That is a mistake that I made, like a lot of people in 2020. I thought, oh, I'm going to become a day trader. I know a lot about stocks. Blah, blah, blah. No, I know nothing. There are people that dedicate their entire lives to studying financials, studying stocks, that are still wrong all the time. If you're one of those people that is your job is to study financial reports and understand companies, then that is when like actual day trading makes sense. The mistake that I made is that all of my money the entire time should have been going into long-term index funds. What I did was I took a bunch of money, I put it into certain stocks. Some of them did all right, so I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And then I put a bunch of money into other stocks and a bunch of them tanked, okay? The only stocks that have performed well consistently over time are long-term index funds. So if you're just gonna dump your money in and forget about it, which is what you should do unless you are trying to day trade, which again, you shouldn't, unless you're trying to make that your long-term career, which you shouldn't, okay? dump money into ETFs, forget about it, let it rise over time. It's going to crash. It will crash. That's an inevitability. People are doomsday every year. Oh, the stock market crash is coming. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay. Keep investing. Keep putting money in, whether the stock market is high, whether the stock market is low. Pick index funds, dump it in, leave it, let it grow over time. The ones I recommend are the S&P, VTI, and VOO. Those are the ones that I'm most heavily invested in. So if you're like, wherever you're at in life, if you're starting to get to the point where you have some savings, you're starting to think about investing money, don't do those things. There are two things that I screwed up that I now have the benefit of hindsight to tell you, do not do.
Story time about one of the worst financial decisions I've ever made. Disclaimer, this is not bashing anyone, okay? No one. I have no hard feelings, no hate, no drama. From 2020 to 2022, I was an online fitness coach, and I had a full-blown business. I had employees, I had an assistant coach. At one point, we probably had like 70 clients, and I loved it. I loved it so much, but there was always this pressure to quote-unquote invest in yourself and invest in your business, which I do not disagree with, okay? The more advanced you get in your business, the more you are encouraged to invest, and the more expensive it gets. So I decided to spend, I'm cringing saying this, $7,000 on a business coach, and that was discounted, and it did absolutely nothing for me. So at the point of investing in this coach, my business was kind of slowing down, and I really needed help with just picking it back up, and I wanted to get to the point where I could not have to do the sales part anymore. So that was my end goal, was I really wanted to outsource the sales portion of the coaching. I really wanted to do just the social media and coach my few clients that I had. And that business coach really didn't do anything for me at all. Like, looking back, I really don't remember making any moves with her at all about anything. She told me I needed to go to therapy, and that's about it. And the fact that I spent $7,000 on that could have been a down payment for a car. That could have been in my savings for my future house that I am saving for right now. The amount of regret that I have in spending that much money for a business that I'm not even doing anymore actively, I regret it so much. It was by far my worst financial decision I've ever made.
Sketchy Financial Decisions, I made an Active Addiction Part 2 Uber Eats edition. My name is Jasmine. I was addicted to the little blue bottles called Feel Free by Botanic Tonics. They have these ingredients in them. I was drinking anywhere from 9 to sometimes 10, 11, 12 bottles a day at the height of my addiction. Sometimes it was more than that, sometimes it was less. Bottles were available for delivery by Uber Eats to my apartment, which you can imagine that gets pretty pricey. They go anywhere from $7 to $12 a pop. At first, I only got these bottles from gas stations, and I would hop around from gas station to gas station and get like 2 bottles per gas station because I was embarrassed to buy any more. And so on top of buying them from gas stations, I was also ordering them from Uber Eats to be delivered to my apartment. And I'm going to show you guys what my Uber Eats receipts looked like. And this is something I never thought I'd ever share with anyone publicly. But I want to just shed some light on how bad this addiction can get and help anyone feel seen or understood if they are struggling with this or going through it. This is in March when my addiction was at its worst. And you can see on March 3rd, I ordered 3, 4, 5. And then on March 2nd, I ordered 1, 2, 3, 4. These prices make me want to cry because now I don't even like to order on Uber Eats because it's so expensive. This is the next couple of days. So you have on March 3rd, I ordered 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on March 4th, 2, 3, 4. On March 5th, it gets really intense. I ordered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's one more down here. And that's crazy. It's that many orders. And again, this is what I was ordering on top of going to gas stations. And that's just crazy to me because I am someone who, like I said, now does not like spending money on delivery services very much because I would rather just go get it myself. It's cheaper. It's more efficient. And you ask, like, why did you order like one at a time, multiple times a day? Because I thought I could control it and not order any more throughout the day. But when the addiction is kicking in, like, it's just uncontrollable. Yeah, I love you guys. I hope this shed some light. And yeah, that was another really poor financial decision that I learned a lot from and hopefully will never happen again.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
I will be speaking to the bad financial decisions that you should never take in your 20s. One of the bad financial decisions I took in my 20s was buying a property with my then partner. That was an extremely bad financial decision. Why was it a bad financial decision? Besides the fact that I ended up being financially liable for everything. So that's the thing about taking a video in a public space. Everyone that passes will actually look at you and it's gonna look so awkward and funny. But anyway, do not buy property with someone.
Hey, my name's Tina. Let me introduce myself. I'll be 49 this year and I have fucked my life up. How about you? Are you also a person who's fucked their life up? I think there's a whole bunch of us. If I had a time machine, I would go back and I would fix my life, but I don't have one. So now I get to live out all of the consequences of all my bad decision making. Want to join me on an adventure? Come on.
A lot of people will say they don't have the money to spend on things, and while I may agree, a lot of y'all just spend your money on the wrong things. Like, I've seen so many videos saying how like $100 only gets you so much at the grocery store, and meanwhile they're shopping like Whole Foods or like some really expensive like organic market, or they're just buying like straight junk food that's expensive. And it's like, bro, maybe if you made a little bit of a smarter financial decision in terms of like what you bought and where you shopped, you might be able to buy more. Like, I know prices have gone up, like I am not denying that, but you cannot blame your own like spending problems on other people or stores around you. That is a you issue. Or you'll see people who are like leasing like the newest fucking car and spending like $500, $600, $700 every month on a car payment. And it's like, what are you doing? You're saying you can barely afford groceries. Why are you spending $700 on a car payment every month? Like, you are just not making smart financial decisions, and yet you're blaming everybody else for it. Like, you are deciding to buy the most expensive car, food, whatever it may be. You were deciding to do that and not, do anything to save money. You're not trying to shop anywhere where it's like a little bit cheaper, or meal prep, or do something, or, buy a used car. No, you're trying to do the most expensive thing, and that's just poor financial spending. And it's like, bro, why are you blaming other people for this?
I can't stand people who blame their financial issues on other things or on other people. Yes, things went up. The cost of everything went up. We understand that. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of ways to save money. A lot of times, people who say, oh, it's too expensive and stuff like that, a lot of the times they overspend. A lot of times they don't even budget their money. It just comes and it goes. And then at the end of the day, they are shocked that they're broke. It's like, no, like, track everything that you spend money on. Track all your expenses and see where to cut costs. And you will be shocked at the amount of money that you waste each and every month.
What's the worst financial decision you've ever made? Because some people would say that mine is investing money into an apartment that I don't own, but actually the worst financial decision I ever made was taking all of the Bitcoin that I had in Robinhood, selling it, and then rebuying it in Celsius a few years ago, because Celsius, if you stored your Bitcoin on their app, they would pay you interest weekly, because they would take your Bitcoin and lend it out to people and pay you interest on top of that, split their earnings with you. So at one point I was making $700 a week just by having my Bitcoin in there. And I continued to buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin is going up, and I was so excited and I was making all this money off it, and I was like, this is so great, I'm gonna have so much money. But you know what they say? Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. If you store your crypto on a third-party app, it doesn't actually fully belong to you. Things can happen. Things can happen, and I knew that things could happen. So anyway, Celsius filed for bankruptcy. They've paused transfers for most people indefinitely. I cannot get my money out. I have more than a full Bitcoin in there. I was so proud of myself when I worked my way up to a full Bitcoin. It took me a few years, but I got there, and now that money isn't mine anymore, and you just have to laugh. This is why. Never invest more money than you can stand to lose. I mean, that's a lot of money, but at this point, I just have to laugh.
Here are some bad financial habits that have been praised and normalized through social media. Number 1 is not budgeting or sitting down with a cup of tea or coffee to look through each of your transactions and what you spent your money on, because apparently looking at your bank account is too scary. You're the only person spending your own money, honey. 2, impulsive purchases just because you had a bad day. Number 3, going to debt as your source of emergency money instead of having emergency funds saved. Number 4, going on a extravagant vacation just because you deserve it, and also adding that to your credit card debt and thinking that's okay because you deserve it. Number 5, saving just enough to cover your down payment and spending the rest of your life living paycheck to paycheck, not going on any vacations, not buying anything for yourself just to pay off your house. Number 6, justifying a really expensive and out of your budget car just because you want a nice car. Number 7, going into debt for a wedding or a vacation. And finally, number 8, having that mentality and that constant mentality that you only live once, live every day like it's your last, but with money.
December 29th, 2005 was a terrible day for me. And you know why? Because I wasn't strong enough to say no. My then husband bought a condo without my knowledge, and that was closing day. And I remember sitting in that closing thinking, what am I doing? Why am I signing these papers? And I remember looking at the date and saying, hopefully my grandfather, who had died on this day, and he was like a father to me, he raised me as his own, and I called him Dad. He had died on that day, and I thought maybe he's going to protect me and see me through this. And well, that was stupid, because the only person who can protect me in a situation of such a large amount of money, such as $1 million, would be for me to be strong enough to say, no, I'm not going to sign these papers. But guess what? I didn't say no. I signed the papers. And that unleashed a magnitude of financial issues that went on for years and years and years. And if I would have just said no to him, you can figure this out on your own. I'm not signing these papers. You can do this on your own. I would not be in the financial situation that I was 10 years ago during my divorce. And still some things haunt me today that I'm dealing with him. However, sometimes if your gut tells you to say no, say no. I'm not going to do this. I didn't do it. I wish that I would have, but all I could do is get wisdom from it. And so your question may be, why did you sign the papers? How did he buy the condo without you? He went to an auction and bought the condo without my knowledge. Put down a large amount of money that day, about $100,000. And so at that time in my life, 18 years ago, I felt stuck. I felt like I needed to sign these papers and that it was going to be okay. And we would just sell this condo eventually and get out of this. And that's where I was wrong. I was totally wrong. And so, no, I didn't have to sign the papers that day, but yes, I did. We were married and we were a team. And that's the way that I viewed it, even though he had done this without my knowledge. And I found out about it, of course, after the fact and after the initial deposit, so to say, was gone to the auction company. I made a choice then to go ahead and close on it with him. I did not have to make that choice, but I did.
We've all made poor financial decisions in the past. As teenagers, impulse buying is a very common thing. Sometimes you just have to buy that $350 LeBron James inflatable toy with 3 different vibrating options. Sometimes you end up buying a Hustlers University course. God help you. But today I found out about a financial decision that someone that I know made, and it was so unfortunate that it really gave me a good chuckle. For context, there's this girl. We're gonna call her Bertha. Now Bertha does not like me very much. One could say she's not too fond of me. And why that is a story that I'm not going to tell for her sake. But Bertha doesn't really like me. And I'm sure if she had a remote control to make my nuts explode, she would have pressed that button a long time ago. One day I wore a beanie to school. And when I wear a beanie, it hides my hair completely. And since I have pretty big hair, it's a little jarring to see me lacking all of it. So one of my friends took a picture, and somehow Bertha got a hold of it and coined the term chemotherapy. And if you don't get the joke is that people who are on chemo, who have cancer, usually don't have hair. So, you know, the punchline is making fun of cancer patients, which is real side-splitting comedy, I know, but that was the joke. So Bertha thought this was the best piece of comedy since an Amy Schumer Netflix special, and decided to pay one of my homeboys $5 to comment chemotherapy on one of my posts. And since I follow him, you can see your friend's comments above everyone else's. So when I saw him comment chemotherapy, I was like, yeah, who hacked his account? I know he's not this unfunny. But I never said anything because I didn't really care until the day after my homeboy hits me up and he's like, yeah, you remember that chemotherapy comment that I made? Yeah, I just want you to know Bertha paid me. Like, I don't want you to think I'm a cornball. And I told him, don't worry, because I had already assumed that it wasn't him typing that in the first place. But to my knowledge, Bertha is unemployed, meaning you spent 5 of your precious dollars to write a comment that got 1 whole like. And that like might have been moral of the story. If you're going to spend $5 to make me feel bad, you know, at least do something smart with it, right? Go pay a homeless guy $5 to shit on my car. And I promise you, that would make me a lot more distraught than a TikTok comment ever could. That's the...
I just realized that a lot of the reason that I've made bad choices in my life, like whether it be bad financial decisions or whatever, or bad job, career moves, bad, choosing the wrong apartment, it's because I took horrible advice from people who made me feel like they were superior to me because they like somehow lowered my self-esteem to the point where they made me feel like I'm inferior and they're superior, and presented themselves as an authoritative figure even though they have no business making life decisions from... Why does this hat look so stupid? I'm taking it off. Now my hair looks stupid. God. I'm ending this video. Okay, but I just need to get that off my chest.
I won $100,000 after winning America's Next Top Model in 2017, and here is the story of my biggest financial mistake of my life. So after I won the show, they actually gave me a check for $100,000. Boom, baby, I'm rich. And for some reason, my little itty-bitty undeveloped brain thought that that meant it was $100,000 post-tax. Like, they obviously already took out the game show tax because I got a check for $100,000. Newsflash, not the case. So anyways, I go and spend the $100,000. I paid $60,000 for an apartment in New York, but I had a roommate paying me back, and then I subleased it and they paid me back. Anyways, it wasn't that horrible of an investment, but obviously not the smartest thing I could have done. And then the rest of the money I spent taking my family on like nice dinners, and I bought one pair of shoes. And anyways, I spent the entire $100,000. I also got a car. Like, yeah, I spent the money, okay? What I should have done was put aside 35 to 40% of the money for taxes so that I'd be ready to pay that. But I didn't do that. I spent it all. And so I spent the next several years paying back the money in taxes to the IRS. Whenever you watch a game show and you see like, oh my God, they won $10,000 or they won a new car or whatever it is, just take that with a grain of salt, because not only are they going to be taxed on the actual cashola that they bring home, but like when you get a free car, you don't really get a free car. You have to pay the taxes and then all the other things that come with winning a prize on television. For the $1 million that you win on Survivor, you probably got to pay like $400,000 in taxes. That's nuts. But anyways, anytime I talk about this, people always freak out and they're like, oh my God, you're such an idiot. It's like, yeah, I was kind of an idiot. That's why I'm making this video in hindsight, okay? Lesson learned, and yeah, always prepare for taxes, everyone.
It is never post-tax. It's always pre-tax. And if you have a large sum of money, budget that money out. You will be shocked at how fast you can spend a large amount of money. When I was in my early 20s, I spent through $9 grand, just like that. In about 2 months, money was gone. I was like, but where did this money go? And it was all on me. I was just spending it like that. The money goes like that. You will be shocked at the amount of money that you waste just by not budgeting the money before you even spend a dime of it.
Okay, so this is a video about the worst financial decision that I ever made. In 2020, I got involved in a Facebook group for cryptocurrency, and these people were like professionals at making you feel like you were part of a family. They really made me feel like we were all going to rise together, like we were all going to just like become millionaires overnight. Like, this was for the small people, this was for the little people, this was for the poor people kind of thing. There were a lot of posts about how people had done this before. Like, people would post their like expensive cars and stuff like that. This seemed very appealing to me because I've been poor my whole life, and it was like, had a little bit of money saved. And I'm sorry, but like there's lots of ways to make money, but if you're not financially savvy in this world and you're not shrewd, there's like not a ton of ways to get ahead that are outside of a system. So this appealed to me because I'm not shrewd, and that should have been where I stopped, because you should not be dealing in cryptocurrency if you are not shrewd and you're not financially savvy. That was a lesson I learned from this. It is not for people who like are hopeful or like naive or believe other people when they say things. Like, it taught me not to do that big time. But yeah, so they told us to invest in these coins, like the whole group together. We're gonna do it together, like David versus Goliath. Like, invest in these coins, and these coins came out, and I invested in it, and like I watched it shoot up, and then I watched it fall to zero in like less than 60 seconds, and I lost all my money, and I could not sell fast enough. The server was overloaded, the whatever, like I just couldn't do it. So yeah, those people probably made off with millions of dollars, and they made off with all of my money. So, I just took that as a very expensive lesson in life. Don't follow other people, especially if it seems too good to be true. It is. And never, ever, ever invest your money without being shrewd. Like, you need to be cutthroat to understand these things, and don't do it. Just don't do it. So yeah, that's the worst financial decision I ever made. Cryptocurrency.
Let's talk about the worst financial decision I made. So back in 2020, I got a Honda Passport, a 2021 Honda Passport. It was about $46K, and the monthly payment was $750. It was a nice vehicle, don't get me wrong. It was super nice. But that's when I learned a valuable lesson about car payments. Car payments are honestly the worst thing you can have, because not only are you going to be making that car payment, you have to do insurance, then you have to do gas, and any other things you have to do related to the car is going to be coming out of your pocket. This is where the story takes a turn. They stole the Honda Passport. Came outside one morning, it was just gone. Finito, no evidence, just poof, gone. In that moment, felt violated. Wow. But as I look back at it now, not having that $750 car payment and pushing my humble 2006 Corolla, blessing. Car payments are not fun.
I put myself into debt, $45,000 worth of debt, not including my car note. With my car note, it's $55,000. No one forced me. No one tricked me. I did that to myself. For a long time, I really just wanted to blame this situation on everybody else except for myself. I would say things like, oh, I had to spend money because of this, or I had to spend money because of that. But I just never knew how to handle my money. And that's just the facts. And I made really bad choices, plain and simple. Now I'm the one paying for those choices, literally. And instead of running from it, because I've been running away from it for almost a year and a half now, I'm facing it. No more excuses. The best part about my journey is that I'm trusting God through it all. I know that He's going to allow me to see a victory through this. And I want you guys to come on this journey with me, where we put our faith in God, we make better decisions, and we hold ourselves accountable. If you've ever made bad decisions with your finances, let's be real about it. What's one financial mistake you've made before?
The worst financial decision I've ever made. I talk a lot about my finances on this channel, but I too make mistakes. My first job out of college was at a large startup here in the Bay Area. This is the job I had before I joined Brev.dev. As part of my pay, I had cash compensation, which you've probably heard the numbers, they've become memes like 157, 171, etc. And then I also had stock options. This is very common for startups. They'll give you options to be able to buy the stock at a certain price, with the idea that when the stock becomes worth a lot more, you'll make a lot of money. But of course, there's a catch. If you ever leave the company, like I did in January to join Brev.dev, then you have 90 days to exercise your options, meaning you have to pony up your own cash to buy the shares at the price that they've given you the right to buy it at, or they disappear. I decided to purchase all the shares that I had vested at that point, which was around $20,000 worth. Not even 6 months later, that company got acquired. But not every acquisition is actually a good thing, like in the Brev.dev case. This acquisition was basically an admittance of defeat. Investors in the company have what are called preferred shares, meaning they get their money back first in any kind of liquidation event. Well, in this particular case, the company sold for less than the total amount of money it had ever raised, meaning I threw that $20,000 directly into a dumpster fire. Of course, I wouldn't have made this decision if I couldn't afford to lose that money. That's like rule number one of making risky investments. But of course, it still does sting to lose that much money. I feel way worse for a lot of my former coworkers, however. There are people who put many, many years into that company, and in some cases even hundreds of thousands of dollars, because they believed what they were working on was worth something. And then due to bad leadership, it ends up becoming worthless. I've only been in Silicon Valley for 2 years, but I've already seen the best of the best and the worst of the worst. But yeah, that's the worst financial decision I've ever made. Now follow me for more content.
One of the best and worst financial decisions I ever made was buying my dream car. It was the best decision because I realized at a young age that the things that we really dream about and really want so bad end up not being everything we thought it would be. And I got to see that at a very young age. It was also the worst decision I ever made because it didn't align with my financial goals. I wanted to invest and buy more rental properties, but the amount of money that this car was costing me on a monthly basis with the 93 Supreme gas, with the maintenance that it cost, it just wasn't adding, it didn't make any sense. Although I was able to make the payments, it wasn't allowing me to invest as aggressively as I wanted to get my assets up to where I wanted it to be. Money that I was spending on the car could have been going into investing. And just to give y'all some context and be, as truthful as possible, I was spending about $800 a month on the car, not including insurance, not including gas, not including maintenance. And on top of that, I spent tens of thousands of dollars customizing it. So this message is pretty much for the young people, well, not even the young people, anybody that feel like that what you really after is the material things. And for everybody, it's different. You might get your dream car and realize, it's the best thing that ever happened to you in your life. I got it, and after about 3 months, it just became another car. And then I realized, like, dang, all this money I put into this, I could have put into this, and it could have made me more money. And then that could have been, what was allowing me to put this money into the car if I wanted to go back and get it later on in life.
Where people spend a lot of money on cars is to buy things for their car. It's to customize their car constantly. You will spend a lot of money. My brother does this, which is one of the reasons why he makes a lot of money per year, but he's still broke because he spends all his money on cars. He constantly buys things for his cars that he hardly uses, number one, and barely needs. And it's just like, at some point, you have to stop buying things for your car. It already looks nice, fantastic. It's already fast. Okay, you have all the gadgets for your car. Like, at some point, you just have to stop there and find a new hobby. If your hobby is too expensive, find a new hobby, for the love of God.
5 worst financial decisions that I've made. Number 1, moving out of my parents' house to a very expensive area that I don't even like. Number 2, having a $780 car payment. What in the fuck? I do have reasoning. My last car, somebody crashed into me. I had gap insurance. I put a lot of money down on the car. After all that, I lost whatever money I put down onto the car. So it ticked me off and I was like, I'm putting no money down on this car and paying a lot monthly. Also, that car happens to be a coupe, which is a very compact vehicle if you didn't know. So that leads us into the next one. Number 3, buying a second car and it being a Mini Cooper, so it's like very small. I have 2 cars that I can't fit jack shit in. Number 4, letting a credit card add up and not having a job. So basically I was living at my parents' house, let my credit card add up, and it was only like a little bit because I was like 19, but it was still enough to where I had to get a job. The first couple paychecks went straight to the credit card. Number 5, paying for college and basically just messing around and not doing jack shit. And meanwhile, I'm very dumb because I'm sitting there paying for it. Meanwhile, like, I'm not putting any effort into anything. That's all of them. I want you to send this to somebody who has concrete grippers as feet.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.